Good morning, it's Grandma Roseanne, and we're going to have such a good dinner tonight, and we're starting very early because we're going to make carnitas. Now, before cameraman shows you everything that's here for ingredients, I want you to promise me you're not going to run off the channel screaming, no, 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 I can't do that. So cameraman, let them see all the ingredients that we're using here. All of this, but honestly, if you're going to make something as flavorful as carnitas, you want to have the ingredients that are going to create the flavor. So we're going to start out with a pork roast, and this is a butt. And you see this big flap right here? This is way too thick because we're going to slow cook this, and it will not render in a slow cooker. So we're going to cut off a good chunk of that. And right here I have got a 5-pound roast. 4 pounds would do good. Cameraman has to sharpen my knives. There. And you don't have to cut it all off. You just want to cut just the portion of it off. Now I will tell you, if I knew how to add music to this channel, we would have some mariachis going right now, and we'd have some music to get us in the mood. I just don't know how to do it, you guys. So if any of you know how, send me some information. I think music adds so much. All right, I think that's enough. Now what we're going to do is just cut it into chunks. You don't have to be precise, because it's all going to cook. So just rough chops are good. This meat is really cold on my hands, you guys. Really cold. Just cut around that bone. Get all that delicious flavor out. Now when I get all of this off the bone, as we're cooking this, you guys, I'm going to put the bone in there. There's a lot of flavor that comes off of those bones. So it won't hurt it, but it will enhance it. And you guys know not to do what I'm doing. You don't slice into your fingers like that. It's a bad example I'm showing you. There's a lot of meat, you guys. It's going to make for many, many good carnitas tacos. I think that just about does it for my chunks, but look at how much meat is still on the bone. Look at that. So I'm not going to get rid of that. I'm just going to throw that right in. Now, I just want this maybe in just a little bit smaller chunks. It's entirely up to you. Pieces like that are thin enough, they're fine. Those are fine. This one I'll chunk down a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the seasonings that are here. Don't feel you have to write them down. They're going to be in the description segment below, just that little arrow. You just press it, it goes down, it'll tell you what's here. So here I have 1 tablespoon of cumin, 1.5 teaspoons of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of cayenne, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1/2 teaspoon of ground cloves, 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Okay, so here we go with the salt. And this is why I like having all of my ingredients, everything out. This would have been easy for me to miss, you guys, at this point. It really would have. All right, 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And we are just going to mix all of those together. And a little bit of a whisk. Now I want to make sure that the meat is really well seasoned. So I'm just going to spread this all over the meat. Just like this. Mix that up. Make sure everything is coated. Everybody gets their fair share. Okay, so we're well coated. Now I will forewarn you, this is the second time you're going to run away from this recipe, because right now we are going to put in 2 pounds of lard. What, you say? 2 pounds of lard? I would never use 2 pounds of lard. Well, I will tell you what. This is not any different than cooking and frying something in 2 cups of oil. So if you don't have lard, or you have an aversion to lard, even though the flavor will be outrageous, then use vegetable oil, and you would use 2 cups of vegetable oil. Now, this is not going to, trust me, you're not going to be having to ingest all that lard. All it's really doing is just slow frying. That's all it's doing. All right, so now we have all of this together, and it's ready to go into our pot. Sometimes when we see a recipe that has so many things that are unfamiliar to us, it kind of sets us aside. I know I do that too. If it calls for ingredients or seasonings or spices that I am not aware of, have never used, not sure of, I kind of shy away from those. But I really am making an effort to not do that. I'm really making an effort to just sample everything. I'm not going to make it in 5-pound increments, that I'll tell you. So if you want to do this and you want to reduce it, maybe do a 2-pound roast. And I think you'll love it, but sometimes it's just nice to step a little bit out of the box that you're normally in when we restrict ourselves in cooking. In this pot, we are going to add 1 cup of orange juice, a half of a Mexican lime, the juice of a, no, I'm sorry, that was a full Mexican lime. Now, I want to show you the difference. Cameraman and I had arguments about this little fruit for the longest time, because I kept saying it was Mexican lime. He kept saying, it's a lemon. No, it's a lime. No, it's a lemon. Well, it looks like a lemon until you cut it, and it's green inside. It is a lime. Now I'm also going to use the orange zest from 1 lemon. No, it's not. It's the orange zest from 1 orange. And then 2 bay leaves are going to go in. We want to have a little flavoring in there, as if we don't already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in an Anaheim pepper. And if you're not familiar with Anaheim peppers, they are totally mild, totally. You can use a poblano as well, and there's no heat to this pepper at all. I've taken the veins out, and I've taken the seeds out, just like that. And I'm also putting in 1 jalapeno. And once again, I don't want excessive heat in this. So what I have done is removed all the hot stuff. And a jalapeno is really not a hot pepper, even though you might think it is, once you get those little seeds out of there. So again, just a rough chop. Okay. On high just until all that lard melts. So I'm thinking maybe about an hour, and then I'm going to reduce it to low, and we're going to let this cook for another 5 to 6 hours. So it will be magnificent. I will tell you, when we come back and try this, you will be able to just pull it apart just like that. I know how this works. Okay, so while that's doing that, what we're going to do is we're going to create the salsa. Okay, now what we're going to make is a tomatillo salsa. And if you haven't seen a tomatillo before, it looks like this. It's like a little green tomato, basically, is what it is. So I have got a 28-ounce can here. I've taken 8 of them out. I have 1 teaspoon of olive oil, and I'm just going to coat those, because we want to get a little bit of that char flavor into our salsa. So we're going to set these down, just like good little soldiers. And And this one broke, so he doesn't get to go. There. Just like this. Now they're going to go into the broiler and they're going to go there for about 7 to 10 minutes. Now, cameraman will want you to follow me to the broiler, but I will tell you right now, he absolutely hates it when my kitchen looks like this. Because this is getting ready for canning. This is marmalade that we made yesterday, and this is going to be pinto beans. So we've got a lot going. Alrighty, here we go. We're just going to let those blister a little bit. The remainder of the tomatillos go in. And to that we have 1 onion that has a rough chop to it. 1 jalapeno, rough chop. 1/2 cup of cilantro leaves. The juice of 1 lime. 1 teaspoon of salt. I have to correct that. That was 3/4 teaspoon of salt, not 1. And 1/2 teaspoon of sugar. And 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Now what we need to do is just wait until our tomatillos are blistered a little bit, and then this is almost done. It's just going to be another few minutes and it's finished. All right, it has been 8 minutes, and this is what they should look like. So cameraman, come in, let them get a good look at this. Do you see how they're starting to blister and they're starting to pop? That's what you're wanting. So now we're going to take these and add them to our mixture, and that's just going to give us that extra little bit of char in this salsa, which is going to be delicious. Okay, now in your food processor, we're going to pulse this because you don't want it pureed. You just want some chunks in it. So we're going to try like maybe 12 pulses and see how that goes. I said 12 pulses. I did this in 8 pulses simply because I have a Breville and it is so powerful. So I just want to taste this. Can you come here and take a look? That's about what it should be looking like. Can you see how chunky that is? Let me just do this again for you, just like that. But now I do want to taste it. I want to make sure that it's well balanced throughout. So that's really good. Yikes. Wow, that's good. So anyway, I'm going to put this in the refrigerator, let it chill, let everybody get acquainted with each other so that they're all friends in here. This pot will cook for the next 7 hours on low, and we will be back at dinner time. Okay? You go have a fun day until we get back. Well, okay, it has been about 6.5 hours, and our meat should be amazing at this time. So now we just need to extract it from all of its juices, and I'm using one of these spiders because you're able to really get it out and leave a lot of that juice and fat behind. The aroma right now in this kitchen is outrageous. It's like walking into an outstanding Mexican restaurant. Now I'm going to show you in a second here that big chunk of bone that I threw in there. Remember, there was so much meat in there? Look at it now. Look at all of that meat is gone. It's all into our sauce here. Oh, it's delicious. That little last chunk there. Okay, so that we just discard. Every last drop. If you enjoy Mexican food, you are going to love this. Now, I want you to take a look at this. See? Just falls apart. Just falls apart. And that's all we're going to do is just separate it out. This is so amazingly tender. Oh, you know, Instant Pot has its place in my life, as I'm sure many of you are living religiously with your Instant Pot. And then I think sometimes we take a look at crock pot and slow cooking as that's the old-fashioned way of doing it. Well, you know, sometimes there's a place for the old-fashioned way when it's long and slow and you can really, really develop the flavors and the taste in it. Absolutely amazing. Get those little bay leaves out of there. So I think what you'll find if you want to do some Mexican cuisine is that the spices and the seasonings you're going to use, unlike a lot of other things we make where it gets pretty pricey, I think the ones you find here are going to be very, very cost effective, very flavorful, and very inexpensive. And they last a long time. Because if you look back at the beginning of our video, it was just a 1/4 teaspoon of this, a 1/2 teaspoon of that. So they last a long time. Now I'm going to prepare corn tortillas for this. You can also use flour, but we really like the corn. So what I have here is a cast iron skillet, and all I did was spray it just a little bit with some olive oil. If you want to deep fry them, you can. Just a real quick fry on both sides and fold it into a taco shape. If you want to bake them, you can do that as well. About 375 degrees, spritz a little bit of olive oil, flip them, and you have that as well. So however you want to do them, there's a lot of ways you can handle this. All we're doing here is just softening them up. That's all we're doing. Just takes a couple of minutes. While this is just kind of heating up here, remember I told you for hours, 7 hours of waiting, we were going to be productive? Well, we did. We canned all kinds of pinto beans. If you've never canned pinto beans, I will tell you they are, ouch. They are amazing. They're so good. And then I canned the marmalade, which is about ready to come out. Okay, these are perfect. They're nice and soft. I'm going to stick them into this little sweet, cute little thing here. Ow! That molds, okay? And let's come back over here where I have the rest of the stuff that we need. Now, obviously, if you don't have this cute little thing, it doesn't matter. Just fold it. Oh, and camera went like that because he's the one that found this. All right, so we are going to start out with the meat. Just like that. Ooh, this looks so good. A little bit of onion. This onion makes everything wonderful. Some of this outrageous salsa. Cameraman's getting in here. He wants a really good close-up of this. Look at that, will you? Oh. There. Now, depending on what you like, sour cream could go on here, avocado could go on here. We just like a little bit of cheese. Come on in and let them see that too. There. All right. Is that looking good to you? Because it's looking outrageous to me. Okay, it's time. So we're going to take this little beauty. Oh, look at that. Just a perfect little street taco. Look at that. Okay, you ready? so good. Really, really, really good, you guys. I hope you give it a try. Just trust me on this one. Just trust me. Be sure to cook it long enough and slow enough. 6 to 7 hours will make all the difference in the world. So please subscribe if you had fun and learned something. Come back, hit the little bell so you know when we're presenting another video. And have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Bye. See you on the next video. My God, Chuck, this is